All right, so check it out. When it comes to conversing with your spouse, or even at work, right? There's two types of conversations you can have, and the problem is you mix the two together. You got a conversation that's based off of feeling, and you got a conversation that's based off of facts. If we're talking factual, leave it at that. If we're talking feeling, let's deal with that. But don't mix the two. When you mix the two, that's when it becomes a big problem. I want y'all to peep this. When a phrase starts off, and I feel like, what does that tell you? This is a feeling conversation. This is emotional. So let's just deal with the emotions in this conversation. But don't look for facts out of an emotional conversation because it's not there. It doesn't make sense. And don't look for emotion out of a factual conversation. It just doesn't make sense. So when you go to your boss at work and you telling him how you feel, and then he replied to you with the policy and the facts, it's the reason why you walk out of there pissed is because the conversation didn't match. You just wanted to kind of vent about how you were feeling, and you probably wanted a solution for it. But the solution will never match if I'm matching it with a factual conversation or a factual response. So I need y'all to get that into your head on what type of conversation are we having. Take a step back and figure this out. What type of conversation are we having? All right? And then the second part to this is be grown enough, be man enough, be woman enough to have a conversation even if you don't feel like it. Granted, I know a lot of men, a lot of people might need their space, might need their time, might need their decompressing mode. But if it doesn't cause for that, if you can't get that, that don't mean don't say nothing. That don't mean don't have a conversation. That don't mean stop the communication. Because when the communication stops, everything falls down. So you still have to find a way to be man enough, be woman enough to have a conversation, even if you don't feel like having a conversation. Because at this point, the conversation is to break down what's going on in your head. I can't read that. The conversation is to see if I can help or if you just need to blow off some steam. The conversation is needed because that's what I'm here for. And I'm not saying do this with everybody, but there are core people in your life that you have to do this with, just so that things don't break down, just so that you don't break down. Because a lot of times the decompressing mode that we go in is us in a dark room by ourselves trying to figure things out when the answer is on the other side of the door. There's been plenty of times I didn't feel like talking, but I said something to my wife and she was like, hey, what about this? I'm like, oh, why I ain't think of that? Why I ain't think of that? Right? So those two things, man. Understand, don't combine the two conversations. Break it, split it up. If we talking facts, talk facts. If we talking emotions and feelings, talk emotions and feelings. But don't talk facts, emotions, and feelings, because that conversation is going to be scrambled up and you'll never get a real solution or the best solution out of that, right? And then the second part is be man or woman enough to have the conversation even if you don't feel like it. Especially if you know that the person that's in front of you or that you're talking to is specifically for you. They were sitting here for you. You know? So utilize what you got in front of you, man. It's your boy Coach DTM, and I appreciate y'all time. We'll get with y'all next meeting. Let's get out there. Go ahead. Work it out. Let's go.